Hello everyone, welcome to my live stream. My name is Denise Mika Hutchins and I'm broadcasting to you from Studio Mikarts. Our charity of the month is Best Friends Animal Society, and you can help me help them help the animals by donating to our fundraiser here on Twitch, visiting their website, which I've posted in the chat, or simply by watching my streams and bringing your friends, because I'll be making my own donation at the end of the month based on my unique viewers count. Today is also the last day for this month because next week is a rest week where I do other studio tasks, so I won't be live streaming. If you enjoy today's stream, please support my creative work by becoming a Twitch subscriber to remove ads and get cute emotes, joining my Patreon for illustrated postcards and prints in the mail, or sending me some creative fuel through Buy Me a Coffee. Links to all these can be found in my Twitch About section. Today is Friday, which means it's Chibi Friday, and it's time to get back to work on my Hallowed soon. I started this project. It's the beginning of a multi-entry project. I don't think it will ever have an end. We'll be hallowing chibi animals, and by doing, in order to do that, first, we Chibify them. This is the original. And this is how far we got last time. Plus, we digitized this, and it's ready for printing. But what I want to do first, I have all these test circles that I did with these metallic paints. The Lost Cow Artist Metallics. And we're doing these circles because they will be a halo behind the hallowed animals. So we're going to hallow them. We're going to indicate their hallowedness with a beautiful shining halo. So my intent with these is to make prints, but each print will be one of a kind because the print part will be this, but the halo will be hand painted each time. So it will be an original work of art, but also a print. So that's called a one-of-a-kind print. It's OOAK, one of a kind. So we're going to hopefully get to the point where we're printing the chibi soon, but first I wanted to see what it's like. I've done some up here with these smaller ones. This textured look, impasto, is what it's called when the paint is applied super thick. And what I did down here was paint the circles just whatever, kind of flat. But it ends up warping the paper because there's water in the paint. And this is watercolor print paper. If that makes sense. It's not watercolor paper. It's art paper that has a kind of watercolor texture to it. It's art print paper for giclée prints. That means inkjet prints. So that's what this will be printed on. So I'm testing how does this metallic paint work. So my next idea, I've had this sitting. One of the reasons I didn't stream last Friday, aside from I just wasn't feeling well, was also that this needed to sit with some heavy flat stuff on top. I had a package and a couple books on top for about a week. And this is how flat it got after 1 week. If you leave it for longer, like a few months, it'll get super flat. But I think this is enough to test. What I want to see is, does it stay this flat when I put a second layer of paint on? I think it will because it's acrylic paint and acrylic is plastic, so this should be now an impermeable layer. This is permeable. That's why it gets wavy on the edges, because the water seeps in. But now that there's this protective layer, initial layer of paint, I think maybe I can get this impasto effect on top, but it won't warp the page anymore. That's my hope. So that's the first thing we're going to test today. If that seems like it's working out well, then we'll move ahead toward doing the very first one-of-a-kind print of Hallowed soon. And I've got the circle templates. Let me get those out so I can show you. Last time we also, I think I actually did the shopping on stream. I found the items anyway. I got my circle templates so that I can make the size that I want. I think this is them. Because the other thing I bought was envelopes for Patreon rewards. So I bought envelopes for Patreon rewards, but I also bought this big set of circles because I had these little ones. So this is my collection of stencils. I had these little ones. Ugh, if I can get them out. And that's what I used to do this sheet, was this. But it wasn't big enough for my Chibi. So, got these big ones. And there's a nice variety of sizes, so there's no way I won't have a halo big enough. Let's just take a look at these. I received them, confirmed that this was what I ordered, and then I put it away. Which is good, because I like to have things where I expect them to be, instead of in piles, and I'm digging through piles of stuff. I've been working on that this year. I've gotten my room pretty tidy. It's not perfect, but it's a lot better than it was. Yeah, I think I'm not going to keep it in this bag, because this is going to be annoying to get out every time. So just put it in that folder with my other ones. Okay, this will go in my orange bag recycling program that we've got. So these huge ones we won't be using for this project. There's no way I would draw a Chibi so big that it needs a halo this big. So these ones can go over here. I might use it for something else in the future. This one's definitely too big. So I'm just, I'll put this better so that you can actually see what I'm doing. Just setting these on top. So this is still way too big. But this is getting more toward what I wanted. Actually, this might be the size. But we could do a little smaller. This one's too small. This one's also too small. These are sizes that were in the other template. There's this one. So if I just wanted the halo to be behind the head and really tight, we could do this size. But actually, I'm feeling the bigger one. So the question would be placement. I'm seeing his tail here. You want to avoid tangents, and that could be a tangent if the edge of the circle was perfectly up against the edge of the tail. So putting it here, but that's not really centered with the head. So if we put it here, but we'd have this little bit of tangent happening where the edge of this circle is exactly where the edge of his body is, right here. So we could put it out farther from his body. So this is more centered, and then we get that tangent there. But if we push it up a little bit, so it's glowing up and out, I feel like maybe this is actually the better option. Because when I do this, it feels like he's kind of like a flashlight, like he's projecting light. And that's not exactly, this is more like, you know, a DBZ style aura. Just showing the hallowedness. So, yeah, this looks really nice right here. Okay, but we don't have to do anything with that yet. This is the other stuff that I have in my, this is the project folder I chose for this project. I'll keep this stuff. So this is the original sketch or the blue colored pencil line drawing. So it's not really a sketch, is it? It's the initial, I mean, it's a sketch to start with, but then it's the final lines. Anyway, I'm never sure what to call my own parts of my process. And then this was just an initial test to see if these paints would work at all on the paper that I wanted to use. So I use a smaller version of the same paper. And it did work, so we'll just keep it together because it's part of the same project. It's part of the process. But I don't need these things anymore. I also don't need the drawing of Soon anymore because what we're going to do next is print a copy. So this one just needs to be stored safely, which I can do later. All right, so the circles that I'm not using, let's get them out of the way. I'll just set them over here for now. You can't see it all, but I have prepared my palette to put some daubs of paint in. This is my favorite glass bowl that I use for watercolor, and I also have a towel and a selection of round brushes from 4 different sizes from large to small. I realize I also want a blue shop towel. That black towel is a microfiber one, so it's good for setting the wet brushes on to keep my desk from getting wet, but it's actually not that great for wiping the brushes on if I'm trying to clean it real quick to change colors or something. So that's what these shop towels are good for. Okay, I think I only need to test on these bigger circles because this is more the size I'm going to be doing on that final print version. Alright, so I got my 3 colors. And what I discovered when I was doing these test circles was that although in my mind halos are always golden, there are instances in art history, in historical art, where they've used silver, and that is wonderful to me because I had this set of metallic paints sitting. I got them in an Art Snacks box, one of their bigger special ones, and I didn't know what to do with it because I don't use acrylic paint. And I don't use metallic stuff very much because I usually finish in the digital realm, and metallic does not translate into digital because metallic requires light to be bouncing off of it to look metallic, but when you scan, it's not light bouncing off of it. It's actually light being projected through it. That's how you see it from a screen. So anyway, it was wonderful to learn that silver has been used to depict halos because I feel like that gives some legitimacy to me using all of these colors, not just the 2 different golds, but the silver as well for this project, because it felt kind of sad to only be using the golds and then the silver still doesn't have a purpose after sitting in here all this time. But no, and in fact, I think I'm going to use the silver for Soon because Soon's fur color is so warm already that having the silver behind him can be a nice contrast. That said, maybe I don't want contrast. Maybe I want it to match with him. But that's the cool thing about making one-of-a-kind prints for each of these, because I could do a different halo color per print and it doesn't have to be the same each time. Each one is meant to be unique, so I will make my decision after I finish applying the, if I can get this out of here, after I finish applying the thick paint to these test circles. Then I'll see which color I ultimately want to do. Honestly, I've been imagining gold. So I might go with gold. But I have the possibility of silver floating around in my mind. So hold on. I'm taking these out because there's a little pet hair in here and I'm going to get it out. That kind of thing bothers me. Okay. Put it in the trash. There. Ooh. Huh. What happened to my... I got some red stuff on my teacup. And I don't know where it came from. And there's also a little red mark on my finger. And it's not blood. At least I don't think it is. Did I cut myself? I don't know when or where I would have cut myself. I don't think I cut myself. Doesn't hurt. What? I think I did cut myself. What? How did I do that? That's what this red is on my teacup. Where? Oh, you can't see it. You can barely see it right here. What? Well, something happened in the past hour or so. Yeah, I think this is actually a cut on my finger because when I won't gross anyone out, but I pulled it apart a little bit and it's definitely open. All right, everybody. I gotta go get a Band-Aid. I don't want to get blood on my art. I got blood on my teacup. Okay, I'm gonna put on my Be Right Back sign and put some Neosporin and a Band-Aid on here. Alright, I'm back. I'm all bandaged up. The only thing I can think is maybe I got cut. So I was 15 minutes late starting my stream today. And a big part of that was that Kiki, my cat, really wanted to play. And she doesn't want to play all the time, and she's quite old now. So whenever she wants to play, I want to play with her because I want to make sure she's getting her exercise so she stays healthy and has a nice long life. But she also had a mat on the back of her, and I've been working on it a little bit every day to get it out of her fur. And so she did scratch at me, but we just had her nails trimmed yesterday, so I still am not sure if that's how she got me or if this is something completely different. Now it hurts. Now that I put the Band-Aid on it hurts. What the heck? I put some Neosporin. I guess the Neosporin going in there is hurting it. That's weird. But Kiki did get me earlier this week. That's what this little mark is. I was brushing her, and she was like, no! But I gotta get the mats out. So. Wow, I'm gonna have to clean my teacup when I've got my delicious autumn tea in here, but I guess it's on the back of the cup. I guess it's my own blood, so it's not a problem. Nobody else is drinking this. Wow, crazy. Cut myself. Bled all over the place. Good thing I'm wearing black today. Hopefully I didn't get it on anything else. I've been like, you know, grabbing stuff, moving stuff around. Wow. I thought I just, I noticed the mark on my finger before I started the stream, but I figured I got red pen on myself because one of my pen colors for my planner is red right now. Having a sip of my yummy autumn tea. It's got a bunch of herbs and dried apples in it, so it's naturally sweet and delicious. And you can't tell. Well, for one, this is my kitty cup. These are the little ears and the faces here. And it has a cute paw coming up. And then my tea steeper is the Death Star. And the little end thingy is a TIE fighter. Dang, my finger hurts now that I put that stuff on it. But I didn't want to get blood on all of my work. At least it's Friday. Can heal up over the weekend and not deal with this on Monday. Wait, I don't stream on Monday. On Tuesday. Okay, so this is one of the two golds. This one's called Sunshine Gold. This one's called the Brilliant Silver. Brilliant Silver, Sunshine Gold. And, oh, my laundry is done. Yay. This one's called King's Gold. So it's got a little bit more of a warm tone, almost like a bronze color. Or like a rose gold. Not quite rose gold, though. That's even more pinkish. But definitely tending in that direction. So we've got all three metallic colors. When is it break time? Alright, about 20 minutes till break time, and then I can... Oh, I didn't realize my arm was covered in pet hairs. I'm going to lint roll it. I don't want hairs getting in my paint. 20 minutes, I'll take my break. And I'll get my laundry out of the dryer. Yay! I often have the laundry going off during my streams because we do laundry almost every single day. Either clothing or pet beds or household towels. My pigeons have towels for bedding, so we wash those once a week. Every day there's something being washed. And every night in my journal, I write 4 things I'm grateful for, and I try not to write the same thing twice in a week. And the washer and dryer often come up as things that I'm grateful for. It makes life so much easier. Alrighty, we're going to use this big brush. I was figuring we would need the smaller brushes for getting in the little small cracks as painting around the silhouette of Soon, but for these circles we just use a big one. So we'll start on this side. And what I want to do is just apply the paint really super thick. So get a ton of paint on and lay it on thick. This is another thing that will make each one of these prints one of a kind, because even if I use this same technique, there's no way the outcome will look exactly the same from print to print. Each brush stroke will be unique, and the combination of brush strokes certainly will be absolutely unique. It will change based on how much pressure I put on, how much water I add to the paint, and which direction I pull the brush, which direction I'm working from. And what I would hope is that I could sell copies of these prints. And my idea is to give a certain amount of the proceeds or the sale price. I haven't decided yet. It's kind of hard to decide proceeds because I have so many expenses, and it's easier just to say like, well, this is how much it sold for, so I'll give 50% of that to my charity of the month or something like that. That's my idea. And the fun thing about doing this is that I can have some time before it dries to adjust the shapes. And I could add even more paint if I wanted to. The reason why it matters to me whether it warps the paper further is that once you put this thick paint on, if you smush it under a book, it's going to smush the paint too. That said, these ones were smushed and they actually don't look bad. So maybe it's not a problem. Like, I'm not trying to make specifically really huge peaks or anything like that. And maybe even while it's drying, maybe it settles down anyway, naturally, regardless of whether it's put under a book. Well, there's a silver one. It's really hard to say, so I'm looking at the edges. Maybe it's warped it a little bit more, but it's very minimal if it has. So I do think it's good to go to move forward with. But let's just finish the other ones since I got all this paint out anyway. And then we'll have this reference too for future entries in this series. Alright, I'm trying to get as much paint out as I can. The water looks really cool with all these little silver flecks floating around, metallic clouds. It's like a vortex of, it's like a nebula in the water. Alright, this is what I'll use this for because it wipes off way better. Microfiber doesn't actually absorb water very well, so I don't actually find them very good for cleaning and stuff. Microfiber towels, I mean. Okay, next one is the King's Gold? Yes, King's Gold. All right, and I need a little bit of water. All right. Down it goes. That's a cool effect. It looks like hammered metal. It's not hammered, it's brushed. Although brush metal is a thing too. Looks really good though. I really like this technique that I've settled on because then we can have the best of both worlds. It fills in the space really nicely, the first layer. Oh, Emma's here. Hello! How are you? Yay! Thank you for joining me today. Hope you're having a great day. Hope it's been a great week and you have a wonderful weekend ahead of you. Oh yeah, so this technique has been great because then I can fill in the circle nicely. But then this pattern isn't my favorite, the brush pattern. So having the impasto paint on top has a more finished artistic look. So the two-step halo is definitely working well for me. Oh, Chappy's barking. Let me let Chappy out. Now you need to bark. Away you go. Emma says it's been a tough week, but it's over now. Yeah, you made it. Good job. Hopefully you can have a nice, restorative, refreshing weekend, I mean. Oh yeah. That's perfect, especially for a tough week when you have a therapy session to look forward to at the end of it. That's the best. That really helps me get through when I'm having a hard time, but I know that I have a session coming up. I can stay calm and carry on, as they say. Ready to come back, Aoife? Stay calm and carry on because I know I'll have someone to talk to about it who isn't just a friendly, a friendly ear, but an actual someone who is trained to help me get through it and make things better for myself. So good. I hope that goes good for you tomorrow. I realized, I'm like, I guess I didn't get as much paint for these two colors as I did for the silver. But no, I'm painting bigger circle. So I think I got the same amount of paint out of the tube, but the circles are bigger, so that's why it's not seeming like as much paint. But it's okay, because this is just an example for myself. So it doesn't really matter as long as I can get the overall effect on the page. You love your therapist so much. That's so good. It can be hard sometimes to find someone that you click with, and that's so important. I think a lot of people give up way too soon because they don't click with the therapist right away or with that particular person, but you don't have to click with that person. There's so many different people, and I've had therapists that I did really well with and other ones that I was like, this person is not understanding me at all. And, then I quit therapy with them and find someone else. And that's hard. It's kind of, socially awkward, but you could just, not make another appointment with them and find someone else. You don't have to make excuses. So it's great when you have someone you click with. That's how I feel with my mental health counselor. She's just sort of, let's see. This isn't the right term, but it's kind of like on retainer. But she's not on retainer because that means that you're paying just to have her available. That's not exactly it, but she's available to me at any time. I can make an appointment at any time. So this year I haven't needed very much regular counseling, So it's just been on an as needed basis, and it's so great to know that she is available so that when something does happen, which it has a couple times this year, I've been like, I need someone's help to get through this. And, you know, she makes a little time in her schedule and we can have a meeting, and usually it's just 1 or 2 appointments. So I'm like, okay, I'm all better. So it's really great. I'm glad to hear that. Yeah. That's so good. I'm so glad to hear that. I hope that happens for more and more people. It was so hard for me to go to seek out mental health support the very first time. It took me years and years and years. I knew I needed help. From when I was a kid, I knew that I needed help. But when I was a kid, I couldn't get help because, you know, you're a kid and you can't do things on your own. And then if you don't trust the adults in your life, then, you know, you got to wait until you're an adult. And then when you're an adult, you're trying to do basic adulting. But eventually I did it, and I'm so glad that I did. Mental health is really important to me, and I think it's something that everybody should look after, not just people with mental health issues or mental health conditions. You know, I think everybody who has a mind has mental health and needs looking after. So it's the same as everybody who has a body has physical health and needs looking after. I hope one day it becomes just as common to care for your mental health as it is to care for your physical health. Alrighty, let's take a look at the waviness. It was already a little wavy. But yeah, I think that the second application of paint, if it is making the page more wavy, it's hardly noticeable from what it was already doing. And I do think it is making it wet, even underneath, because I can feels cool. And that's an indication that the paper is a little bit damp. Yeah, you're so right. It's a two-pronged thing. You've got to be able to afford it as well. So it would be great if it's... I know there are some programs people are doing where you can get free mental health care. But yeah, it's really hard, especially in places where you can't even get physical health care, you know, unless you have money. So it's really tough. But there are resources. So hopefully those will grow more and expand and become more normal. And more people who have the ability can support those resources so that people who don't have the ability can still access the health care. It's coming along. It's definitely changing, even since I was young. When I was young, it was still, I mean, among some people, it is still something they try to make you feel bad, you know, and it's really sad because I think the people who try to make you feel bad about seeking mental health care are probably the people who are suffering the most, who actually need the most assistance in that arena, but, you know, they don't want to hear it, so you can't help them. But it's, these days, it's normal to talk about, and like I don't feel afraid of talking about it, for instance. But when I was a kid, it was a thing you didn't talk about, or if you did, you like made lots of excuses and you felt like you had to defend yourself and everything. It's not as bad anymore. I'm not saying that it's not like that still, because it is, unfortunately, but it's a lot better. Even in my lifetime, it has improved. Okay, so I'm happy with this technique. I think it's going to work out, which means the next thing we need is a print. So I'm going to switch over to my digital workspace so that we can make the print. So let me move my stuff over. What time is it? Oh, it's almost break time. This is perfect timing. I'm going to move my mic, so I'm going to mute it for a sec. Okay. That's over at the digital workstation. Now I need to... Oh, I'll need my keyboard too. Okay. I need a lot of stuff to make prints. It's not just printing it. I've got to set it up into the correct format and put my print information on the back. That's how I do my prints. Some people just hand write it because that's the classic way of doing prints. It's usually write with a pencil along the bottom of the front of the print. But I decided to do it my own way, and I print it on the back. Makes it easier for me to keep track as well, because I've then saved the file, the Photoshop file. Oh, here go the fans on my PC tower. I save the file, and then that means I can see which number print I'm on each time I print one, so I don't have to keep track of it elsewhere. Open this one, please. Thank you. Then we'll open one of my other print. Let's see, I think it's under... No, it's under visual art and it's under products, I think. Prints, yes. So we want just one of these, and then we're gonna commandeer the file. We'll just save it as a different file name. Save as. This is Hallowed Soon. (11 by 8.5), and so save. So what I want to do is take this final one and put it over here. And then we can, oh, we want this on the top. Whoa, we don't want it this big. It's because I scan it at 600 DPI. So that means it's twice as big as the original. We do not need it to be that big. So let's put that in the trash. Actually, might make it easier if I make this smaller to begin with. So I'd like it to be the native size I drew it at. So make the width. No. We'll just do %. Haha. Make it easy on myself, 50%. Because here it says 300 pixels per inch, but I scanned it at 600. There. Now we'll pull this over. Stop putting it in the folder. And then we'll close this. We don't want to save this because we don't want to lose. No, we don't want to lose that size. So we don't need the big one. We want the little one. And then there'll be plenty of room. Alright, it's break time, so I'm going to leave it here. There's still more to do. But I'm going to leave it here, put my be right back sign on. I encourage everyone else to also take this opportunity to get stretched and refreshed. I'll be back in about 5 minutes. everyone. The pups and I are back, and I just realized that I never switched over to my desktop, so you didn't see what I was working on. Sorry about that. All right, back to work on this. So I am thinking about the halo. I have centered Soon here in the middle of the sheet, but I think I want to actually scoot him a little bit to the right so that the halo's edge and then his tail, between the halo's edge and his tail, it will be centered. So not just him being centered, but if we take it as a whole unit, him plus the halo, center that. Now I don't know exactly how far out it's going to go, but I do remember it was about maybe this distance when I put the template on. So I'm just going to guess and move it a little, just going to eyeball it, move it over a little bit. Oh, thank you, Emma. Thank you for the welcome. I hope you had a great break. Let's see. Okay, so we're going to scoot that over just a bit, and it doesn't matter if this is not perfectly centered. Especially since each halo is going to be unique, so the halos themselves might be a little bit to the left or the right or up or down compared to each other. You know what? Thought of a better way to do this. I'm going to make another layer and move that layer so that I can see how far over I've moved it. Because I know about the amount of space I want to see. So yeah, maybe something like the length of his nose, this part. I feel like that's about how far the halo is sticking out. So we'll call that good. We can delete this one now. So his placement is good. Now we're going to work on the back. Let's save this. And this doesn't change, so we're going to change, let's see, this part. Or is it this one? Oh, it's this one. The title is Hallowed Soon. And the original media. It's interesting. I'm doing it is an art print. It's one of a kind. I'm doing such a unique thing that I don't have any existing what's the term? What people normally would do. I don't have any examples in my head of people doing this, so I'm figuring it out on my own how to, because it's definitely an art print, but it's a one of a kind, so it's still a unique piece. So what the reference? Yes, I don't have any reference from other artists doing stuff like this. So here when it says original media, I am deciding whether I include the acrylic paint. And I think I should, because that's definitely going to be part of it. Even though the acrylic paint is not... This is my dilemma. Normally when I make an art print, I have the original piece, and then I just make a print of it. And that's that. So all the media I used in the original piece, that gets listed here under original media. But with this particular series, do I include the acrylic under the original media umbrella? Not that there's anywhere else to write about it, actually. Because original media suggests that there was an original piece, and it was made with these things. The original piece does not include the acrylic paint. That's applied to each print. Stuck. I don't know what to do. It would just be easiest to write it here, but how do I make the distinction that the acrylic paint is not part of the print part of the piece? The acrylic paint is original. Original to each print. Okay, well, we could at least change this. The original media was ink, marker, colored pencil. That was the original media. Maybe somebody, I'm sure somebody has done something like this. I'm going to just search how to, what am I searching for? How to note that elements of a giclée print are original to the one of a kind print. I don't even know how to ask the question that I have. Well, here's an AI overview on a Google search. To denote elements original to a one-of-a-kind print, you must use the artist's signature and edition number to indicate authenticity in a limited run. No, that's not what I'm talking about. It's telling me I have to do it. It's not telling me how. No, I don't want to know how to make it a one-of-a-kind. I want to know how to note that it is a one-of-a-kind. This is tough. I don't need a guide to giclée printing. Well. Maybe I can't search giclée print because all it is telling me what it is. I'm not trying to find what that is. I think I'm going to have to figure it out for myself. Just make it up. Just like I did with this little mark that I print on the back. Just make up my own thing because I'm not finding... I hear how to tell if something is an original or a print. No, that's not what I'm trying to do. Types of art prints. I don't need to know that. I already know about a lot of types of art prints. I'm just trying to figure out. Here's a different problem people have. Hand-pulled prints occupy the confusing space that lies between an original artwork, such as one-of-a-kind painting, and a reproduction. That's true, because when you're doing a hand-pulled print, you're applying the ink, or whatever you're using, each time. And so the key to a really good print run is having the skill to make the ink look the same each time. And that's how you know you have a really good traditional printer, is they, like art printer, because they can, art printer as in a printmaker, a person, not a machine. But none of these are talking about. Okay. I searched how to indicate one-of-a-kind, unique aspects of a print. Oh, here's a cool one. A cool phrase. Hand-modified print. Used to indicate that a print has been hand-painted or altered by the artist after printing. That's what I need. It still doesn't help me decide whether to write the acrylic paint in the original media part, though. Which probably not, but... I think the problem is the searches are just telling me these different terms that are used in printmaking, such as open edition, variable edition, etc. But I just want to know how to indicate what part was the print and what part was the modification. Nobody is talking about that in these search results. I don't know what to search to find the information I want. Okay, I'm going to see if Gemini can help me. Because then I can explain in a paragraph. I'm explaining what I'm doing. I'm trying to label the media used in my Chibi print. However, I am stuck on whether to include the acrylic paint in the list of, quote, original media or not. Because the acrylic, oh, if I could spell, acrylic paint is applied to each print after it is printed. The acrylic is not part of the original drawing that is being printed. Okay, and then what is my question? How to indicate that in the... I mean, I guess I could just add another line, but I have this all perfectly laid out in a square, you know, there's not really room. But I guess I could put an extra line, take this line away here. Original media. Maybe I could move edition size up, because it says open edition. And then I could put, oh, maybe after, so I've grouped original stuff together here. So either above or below edition size, I could add additional media, or unique media. Let me finish asking Gemini and see what ideas it comes with. So I put, I'm trying to label the media used in my Giclée print. However, I am stuck on whether to include the acrylic paint in the list of original media or not, because the acrylic paint is applied to each print after it's printed. The acrylic is not part of the original drawing that is being printed. Is there a way to note that the acrylic, is there a brief, I want a brief way, note / indicate that the acrylic is unique to each print and applied. See what it says. This is not. Alright, well maybe it does have some. Okay, the result is the most common and accepted brief way to note this is to label the print as Giclée print with hand. So I've got Giclée art print already up here. With hand embellishment. You can then be more specific with your media listing. Media, archival pigment ink, acrylic paint, hand embellished. Well, I've got ink type and paper type here, so that's not quite going to work. But I guess I could put additional media here above the ink type, because the ink type is the media of the print itself. That's what makes it a Giclée print, is that it's the high quality materials. Because it doesn't really understand what I'm trying to do, but this is getting there. It's getting there. Other acceptable terms you may see used are artist enhanced Giclée print, hand painted Giclée, if the acrylic is a significant portion. I think it is. The halo is going to be like a third of the colored area. Giclée with unique acrylic embellishment. Let's see. Hand embellished. What was that other one that I saw? Hand modified. Well, I wouldn't call it modified. Because modified makes it sound like you're just kind of tweaking it. But I'm not tweaking this. This is a major part of the piece. It's not like a little... It's not an embellishment. Oh, Emma's gotta go to bed. Thank you for listening to me think out loud this whole time. I'll figure it out. Thank you. And thank you for joining me today. I always appreciate seeing you in my chat and having a nice time talking with you. Good night, sweet dreams. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Bye. I'm waving with my cursor. Okay, I think what I'm gonna need to do is just make another line. That's okay, we've got this extra space. I'll keep the original stuff together. We'll just tighten up these spaces here, and then we'll add another line down here. And I like the idea of putting it with the excuse me, with the ink type, and that way the media that is actually making up the print itself, the physical print itself, they're all grouped together here, because it would be the ink type, the paper type. So the ink, well, actually maybe I'll put it underneath, because the order of operations is you put the ink on the paper and then you put the additional media on. Okay, we figured it out. Yay! Okay, so I just want to tighten up these spaces here. Oh, nope, it didn't want to do it. No, I don't want to make a new one. I just want to make this, so put it here. That space right there. So where is it this? I think so. It's 12 points. So what if we take it down to half? Alright, and then we'll do the same up here. Make this half as big as it currently is, and then we've got to do it on this side too. Take it down to 6 points, and same here. I'm so glad I figured it out. Took me a while. But that's what happens when you're doing something completely new. So I'm going to add the new line. Oh, look, it's going to fit perfectly. Yay. Additional media. Making sure I spelled that right. Additional media. Yes. And then we can put here. Nope, I forgot. I need to do. No, I didn't want to add one. I didn't want to add a layer. I wanted to type there. There. Now I can add it. You know what? I did not get rid of digital media here. I did technically use digital for the print version here, but it was just cleanup work. I didn't add anything significant, so I'm not going to be saying that I used digital media to create that original piece. That's different in my head, and I think to a lot of other people too. Okay, additional media. I'll put acrylic paint. Or should I just put acrylic? Because I just put watercolor. I don't put watercolor paint. There's so many decisions to make. Let's ask Gemini. Okay, what I'm asking Gemini is, if I just call it, quote, acrylic, the way I do with, quote, watercolor, would that be enough to communicate that I used acrylic paint as the additional media? See what it says. It says calling it just acrylic is fine for listing the media, but it doesn't clearly communicate the uniqueness and hand-applied nature of the paint on that specific print. Here's why and what to do. For the media list, you can absolutely use just acrylic in the list of materials. A standard way to list media for an embellished print is media, sheet clay print, archival pigment inks, acrylic. Media, watercolor, ink, and acrylic on archival paper. Sheet clay with hand embellishment. Well, that's not how I'm doing it, because I'm dividing it up into specifying. I'm not just saying archival ink. I'm saying the specific brands and the paper, too. For the title/description, crucial for clarity, The key is adding the term that describes how the acrylic was applied to the print, which is a crucial distinction for collectors. The briefest and clearest way to communicate the hand-applied unique nature is to use the term hand-embellished. It really likes that hand-embellished. The most common professional media listing format is giclée print with hand embellishment acrylic. This combines the media and the process into a single, highly recognizable term. Well, I'll just put acrylic then. It answered way more than what I was actually trying to get at. It's weird though, this is not lined up. I think I just need to push it up one. That keeps happening on my prints. I don't know what the deal is. Why some of these have... Okay, it's lined up now. It just needed a single pixel. Okay, I'm done with Gemini for now. What was that other thing? Hand modified, unique print. Okay, so there's still more stuff I wanted to change. Back to the text tool. So all this should be good. My name, my email, my website, that's all the same. Original title, hallowed soon, yes. Original media, ink, marker, and colored pencil, yes. Original size. So I do need this print because I need to measure it. I mean print. I need this original drawing so I can measure how big it is. I'm going to try erasing right here. It looks like I smeared some of the ink on this drawing. See if I can erase some of that. Is it working? I think it is. Yay! I don't know what happened there, but I got it. It's cleaned up. The original is nice and clean again. Now I'm just trying to swipe the... Oh, sorry about that loud banging. It's coming from outside my window. Hopefully not too loud on this stream. But it startled the pups. Startled me a bit too. Okay, I'm putting the eraser bits in the trash. That's better. I don't know how it got a little bit of streaks on it from something. Now it's all clean again. And I can go back to what I wanted to do, which is measure it. So it's about 5 inches if I give it a little bit of a border, 5 inches wide, and tall. It's also about 5 inches. It's a little bit less, but we'll just say 5 by 5 because it doesn't matter that much. It's not that big of a deal. It's on a different size sheet of paper than that too, so we'll just put 5 by 5 for the actual drawing itself. So 5 by 5 inches. Original date means original completion date. I need to look up when that was. Or was it the same day that I... So maybe it was this 8/22. It was probably the same day I scanned it in, right? Because I don't think I scanned it in and then worked on it another day. I think I scanned it in and that was that. Finished it. Well, we'll just call it 8/22 because whatever day I scanned it in is the day I finished with the original media. So that is August 2025. Alright, so the title, the media, original size, original date, 22 August 2025. Okay, I've got edition size. I just have open edition because that means there is no size. It's infinite. I'm not limiting it to a certain amount of prints. But print number, I do number them still, even though it's an open edition. And this is where I'm going to choose one of these terms. There's lots of different versions you can choose. So that's what these were talking about in the search results from a little earlier. The AI overview. Well, here's Printmaking 101 series. I want to go to a source. Oh, I think I've looked at this person's site before, too, to get help with this. Here we go. So I'll share this in case anyone else is interested in this kind of thing. This is what I'm looking at right now. Post it in the chat. Bring it over here, too, so we can look at it together. I'm particularly interested in this column. The edition number and other printer's marks. I'll just read it all. Let's read it together and learn. I'm relearning. I learned this in my printmaking class, but I don't make prints that often, actually, even giclée prints, so I always have to just look it up. It says, on the left-hand lower corner of the impression is where you should place your edition number. I'm doing it different and put it on the back. These are two numbers that are divided by a slash and look like a fraction. I also, since I'm doing open edition, I don't have that. The number below the slash, okay, we're going to skip that. Outside of numbering and addition, there are different marks that printmakers use to distinguish certain prints as being unique from the numbered edition. AP artist proof. Okay, so we don't need this because this is just, so if the artist is creating an edition for a dealer, the artist is able to keep a few prints for personal use from the edition. Blah, blah, blah. We're not doing that. Printer's proof. These are proofs that a printmaker keeps, usually only one. BAT. Bon à tirer, I guess, or RTB, ready to print. Print signed with this mark. French, good to pull. Means this is the first print in the edition that meets the standards of the artist, so we don't need to worry about that. Trial proof, we don't need to worry about that. State proof, we don't need to worry about that. Or commerce, I guess. I don't speak French. Well, I have a little bit of French, but not very much. These prints are sometimes unsigned and used to promote, supposed to not be sold. Cancellation print. Oh, we don't need to worry about that either. Monoprint or monotype. This one might be relevant. This is reserved for unique prints, most commonly using serigraphic process or flat plates of non-porous material where the artist and or printmaker draw a design and only one print can be pulled from it. Okay, so this is not what we want because the print part of my series is going to be the same. The print part is not going to be unique. So we don't want that one. Unique print, unique state, variable edition. I'm starting to think that maybe variable edition is what I want. Prints labeled with these marks have some kind of unique feature that can't be reproduced again. These kind of prints, as well as monoprints and monotypes, may be labeled as 1-1, edition of 1. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe I don't want that because maybe I do want the hand modified thing that I said. Oh, and here it is. Because this makes it some kind of unique feature. It makes it seem like the variable part is part of the printed part, not part of the additions that I'm making. Imp. Impressiet. This mark may be found after the signature if the artist printed their own work. I print all my stuff, pretty much. HMP, HPM, or HMM, hand-modified print, hand-painted print, or hand-modified multiple. Sometimes artists add features to a print by hand after the edition is created. Ah, this is what I'm doing. These are most commonly found in serigraph prints. Edition varied. Editions made on different paper or printed with a different color ink are sometimes labeled with this mark. Some artists and printmakers choose to number these prints with Roman numerals instead of Arabic numerals. This is not a definitive guide. There are other marks. I think the hand-modified print is what I want. Hand-painted is even more close. But hand-modified allows for more options. Because not everything is painted. If I were to add colored pencil, for instance, that's not a painting technique. Hand-modified multiple. Let's look up hand-modified multiple. I'm going to put this back over here. A hand-modified multiple, this is the AI overview, but a hand-modified multiple refers to an artwork, typically an edition, print, or object to which an artist has applied additional unique modifications by hand after its initial production. Yes, that's what I'm doing. This process adds a layer of individuality to the mass-produced work, making each hand-modified multiple a unique piece within a series, distinguished by the artist's personal additions. Multiple. This refers to an edition of identical or very similar artworks produced in a series, not necessarily limited to prints. Hand-modified. The crucial element is that the artist adds unique features by hand to the multiple after it's been produced. Unique characteristics. While the original base work is identical in the edition, yes, that's what I'm doing, the artist's hand-applied modifications make each piece a unique work of art. Yes, that's exactly... Okay, so this seems right. But I'm just trying to see what the difference is between hand-modified multiple and hand-modified print. Hand-painted multiple. Here's a website that might talk about it. This says, the article is called, "What is the difference between fine art prints, editions, and multiples?" Additions and variables. Okay, I'm gonna have to find in page because it's going through the history of printmaking. I don't need to read that whole thing. That doesn't even seem to have... Only has hand in here once, so why is this even a result? Okay, we're gonna go back. Where's the back button? Here's composition gallery. Let's see what they have to say. This says, I've been to this site before. Limited and open edition. Okay, they're going through the same list. Artist can, it's not explaining the difference though. What's the difference between these three terms? Not just, you know, what sense do I make of it? What do people generally... Maybe if I search hand modified multiple versus hand modified print. Alright, the AI overview says that the terms are essentially synonymous. I guess I'll just read the whole thing from beginning to end, what it has synthesized based on its search results. Hand-modified multiple refers to an artwork created through a printmaking process that results in multiple impressions, where additional hand-applied features or alterations are made to each print after it has been pulled from the plate or matrix. In contrast, hand-modified print can refer to this same process but specifically emphasize the nature of the base medium, a print. Hand-modified multiple. Process. The artist begins with a base print, which exists in multiple copies, a multiple. After the prints are created through a traditional printmaking technique, the artist then alters each individual print by hand. Well, I'm not using traditional printmaking, I'm using giclée, which is a modern printmaking technique, but whatever. Nature of the work. The final artwork is a combination of the original printmaking technique and the artist's hand-drawn or painted additions. Each hand-modified multiple will be unique due to the individual additions, even though the base image is the same. Example, an artist might pull a set of screen prints and then, well, we don't need to know that. I know what I'm doing. Just trying to figure out what term to use. Hand-modified print. Definition, this term is essentially synonymous with HMM, but is sometimes used more broadly to describe any instance where a print is modified by hand after its creation. Emphasis, the print in HMP highlights that the base artwork is a print, and then the hand-modified aspect describes the additions made by the artist. Key takeaway, both terms refer to the same concept, a print that has been enhanced with unique hand-applied features by the artist after the initial printing process. Multiple emphasizes that the base image is intended to be replicated, while print emphasizes the fundamental medium of the work. Oh, so I just got to make a choice, I guess. Hard. It's hard. There's no right answer. Oh, there goes that banging again outside. Hand-modified print or hand-modified. You know what? I just realized I could just put hand-modified. Uh-huh. Yep. Hand-modified. Because it's hand-modified print, hand-modified, no, hand-painted print. I didn't realize it would take me this long to figure this out. Let me think. What information am I putting on here? I've got the additional media listed. of hand modified original, no, hand modified print. Hand modified. So those are the common accepted terms, and that's why I'm trying to operate within a framework that's already understood. That's why I use this edition size open edition, even though I don't think I'll ever make anything other than an open edition, but these are the terms that are known and used. So what I'm thinking is either after open edition or after print number, I want to put maybe parentheses hand modified. Because if I just put hand modified, then I don't have to pick. I don't have to pick whether to say hand modified print or hand modified multiple. Yeah, that's what I'll do. Wonder if I should put a dash. I was seeing it both ways. Let's ask Gemini again. Should I write quote hand space modified or quote hand dash modified? The most common and generally preferred way is with a hyphen, it says. The hyphen is used because hand and modified are acting together as a single adjective to describe a noun, e.g. a hand modified circuit board. Yeah. Okay. I thought that that might be the case, so that's why I decided to put that in there, and then I wanted to verify. Okay. Yay! Took almost this whole time just to get this set up. But now that it's set up, I won't have to do this again. For future prints, I'll just have to change this information. I won't have to add this whole thing in and I'll make all these decisions because I'll just change the number. Change the date. So now let me look this over. So artist, that doesn't change. Email, website, those are good. Original title, original media. Oh, I'm having a yawn. Let's get something to drink. Maybe that'll wake me up. Some nice, fresh, filtered water. Okay. Original size, 5 by 5 inches. Original date, 22 of August, 2025. So all this stuff shouldn't have to change anymore now that I've put this here. The only things that will change as I create more and more prints of this is the print number and the print date, which we will change this to today because we are going to print our first one today. September. 26th of September, 2025. Then the ink type and paper type don't change. And then I've got the additional media noted there as well. I don't like how this is sticking out though. Because I've got it, everything else lines up here. I'm going to go to my favorite, Merriam-Webster thesaurus. We're going to look up additional. See if I can find a shorter word for that. I found a longer word, supplementary. Other. Okay, I'll put other. That seems to work all right. In my head, that sounds all right. Instead of additional media, other media, because we've got original media, we've got the print media, and then this will be other media. That should fit. Yay! Then it all fits in my little square that I've designed. Let's save this. So this is all correct. So we can print now. Hooray! Guess I'll print the back first. We've got just a couple of minutes until next break time, but we may as well get the print going, and then it can dry a little bit during break. So I'm getting out my Aurora Art Natural 250 by Red River Paper. And get a sheet out. And I always like to swipe the surface off with my swipey brush in case there's any little dust particles from the paper cutting process to cut these sheets to size from the paper manufacturer. They're the ones who gave me that idea. So I was like, oh, that's a good idea. So now that's what I always try to do. So I make all my prints myself, and so I do my best to make them as high quality and professional as possible. Okay. Now we're going to print the back first because it uses less ink. I made sure to flip my paper around to the back, and we're going to go print. And this looks good. Photoshop manages colors, and it's on Epson matte. We do want this checked. I don't know what's up with this height and width, but I guess we're not using that, so it's okay. Now we'll go into print settings and make sure everything looks good there. Yes, rear paper feed, 8.5 by 11, landscape, premium presentation paper matte. Man, I got a little fingerprint on my glasses somehow. I'm trying to read and there's a little smudge. Okay. I think I got it. Got most of it, at least. Okay. We'll have it on color for now, it's fine. And okay. That looks good. And print. So I can put the rest of the paper back because I'm just going to make one at a time. In fact, I might keep the first one for myself. And then the other ones, I'll use it as an example, since in order to sell it online, I'll need to take a photo of the finished one with the acrylic. But I'll keep it for myself. Okay, now it's ready for the paper to be loaded. So I can put my ruler away. Done with that. Put this original drawing back in the folder. Sweet. Back is done. Looks good. Nice, clean, crisp printing. I'll show you when we switch back to physical media, of course. But now, let's print the front. And we shouldn't need to change anything, so I'm just going to go print one copy. We want all the same settings as we just used. Okay. This shouldn't take too long either because it's such a small part of the page. The matter? Oh, I'm out of some inks. Out of cyan. Well, I guess I'll do that now, or I'll forget. Yep, replace now. It's great. I just purchased a bunch of cartridges, so we're good to go for a while. Okay, so we are replacing cyan. Almost out of a couple other colors too, but light cyan and light magenta are almost out as well. I'll wait until it actually tells me to replace it though. These inks are not cheap, so I want to get every last little drop I can out. All right, completed. This cover on here on the old cartridge. Then we've got a collection box where I put all of these to be recycled at the office supply store. All right, done. Yay! I'm just putting everything away now from that little side quest. Okay, I'm putting my be right back sign on again. I encourage everyone to take this opportunity to get stretched and refreshed. I'll be back in about 5 minutes. everyone, I'm back. It's time to go back to physical media. Yay! So let me just move this print over to the physical media station, move my mic over. Gonna mute it. Okay, mic is moved. Now I just need my keyboard and mouse and monitor. Keyboard, check. Mouse, check. Monitor, swinging that around the other side of my table. Check. Yay! Okay, I don't know if this acrylic paint is fully dry yet. I'm gonna move it up. Okay, and now I shall switch over to my main camera. Yay! We're back! So here's the print version. Looks like almost just like looking at the digital version. It looks really good. Came out really nice. And then here's that information printed on the back. Oh, it's suddenly not as lovely and bright. Camera, I liked it when it was really nice and bright. Well, whatever. Here's all that information that I worked so hard to figure out how to convey. So this will be printed on the back of each of these. And then, like I said, I'll just change the relevant stuff here. Everything else can be the same each time. So now I need a pencil. I'm going to use a graphite pencil. Probably use this one. I just rediscovered this one. It was in a journal, but I hadn't been using that journal. It's a super thin 0.3. 0.3 tiny. And it's perfect because we don't want too much graphite to show on here. Hopefully we won't have any showing, but if there is, it'll be super thin. And we've got our template. So just have to decide. Look how cool that is that my lamp is cut off here. It doesn't reflect off the same way it does on these two surfaces. If you can see it. Whee. Okay, anyway, that kind of thing is entertaining to me. So putting this right about here. So I don't want any big tangents if I can help it. So I'm avoiding, there's this little angle right here. So I'm avoiding putting the circle right at the crux of those 2 points. I'm avoiding putting it right against the edge of his tail. I think this looks really good, so I just have to hold it and not move it. Okay, I'm going to try to hold it and carefully draw the circle. I'm not sure if that actually made a mark all the way around. Yeah, it looks like it missed some spots. That's weird. I want the mark to be light, but not so light that I can't tell where I'm supposed to be painting. All right, time to see. Oh, good. Circle is there. You can't really see. Let me hold it up for you. Here it is. So here's the circle for his halo. We're going to have to do this in 2 parts though. So we'll work on another project. If I finish this really quickly, let's see, will I start work on another project or will I just call it good today early? Because it is Friday, I kind of tempted to give myself an early day. Let's paint this first and then we'll decide. Oh, and we have to decide what color to use. So actually the print version, and I don't know if it's because some of those inks were low, but at least this version is not quite as vibrant as the original. Even though it looks quite vibrant on my screen, so it might have been due to those inks running low. Here's the original versus the print. You can see it looks darker. And that's okay, because these are all meant to be originals anyway. Even though they're prints, they're still original. They're one of a kind, we'll say that. They're one of a kind. So I'm not a printmaker. I'm an illustrator and I'm just doing a thing. So that does affect what color I want to put behind him. So I'm not really liking this yellow gold. It doesn't really vibe with his fur as well as this one. So I think this was called sunshine gold, but I'll just call it yellow gold. It's easier. And this one is red gold. And the red gold looks really good with him. But I do also have the option of the silver. And do I want the silver so that it's really distinct from him? So do I want him to meld with his halo and look similar to his halo? Or do I want a completely different color? So he's warm. This is cool. I want a completely different color so that it stands out. And he will probably stand out in front of this, although light catching it will make this really attractive too. I guess what it ends up being the difference when I'm looking at this color vibes with his fur. This color vibes with his eyes. I kind of like that idea. The silver bringing out that cool colored bright shine in his eyes. Yeah, let's do silver. For that reason. So I need some more silver paint. I'm not sure how much, so I'm going to err on the side of less. Because we could always put more in there. And let's do these small areas first. So what I'm painting here, and we'll bring this down so that you can see it better, since I'm working small again. The point of this layer is to cover up the white paper with a flat layer of metallic paint. I'm painting with a lot more precision than I did when I was doing the test circles.
And this is also a much bigger circle than I painted so far. Gotta move this. Doing my best to paint right up to the edge without going over. I have got an even smaller brush too, but this one's working pretty well. I'm now realizing, working on the real thing, that doing 2 layers is also great because I'm seeing some differences. So I'm painting a lot slower, so the acrylic is drying, and then I see differences where I'm putting wet paint over dry paint. But those will be covered up when I do the impasto effect for round 2. So no worries about that. So what I want is a nice smooth, well, not smooth, but I want a consistent looking halo all around. So I don't want, if possible, any of that distraction from paint looking different from other areas just due to being applied at a different time. Oh, my space is really small here. I'm trying to make sure you can still see, but that I can also turn the page as needed. Yeah, I thought that I would have a whole bunch of time. That's what I was talking about, ending early, but now that I'm seeing how slow going it is, trying to paint with precision, I feel like it's possible an hour might not be long enough. And actually, it's less than an hour now. Only half an hour left in the stream. Alright, I gotta pull this closer. It's so tiny right here. It's just a tiny spot. Trying to paint with precision and also get enough coverage. The next layer of paint will not be about coverage, it'll just be about texture. So I got to get the coverage in now. And by coverage I mean covering up the white paper. And this graphite outline too. Alright, one little section done. That's cool, you can see the differences. It shines in the light. Next small section.
some stuff. Gotta get some of this stuff out of my way so I've got more space. There. This is gonna look so cool. It's already looking really good just with these two sections. I think I'm gonna add a little bit more paint in that last section I was working on. Okay. I think I'll go back over here. So I'm left-handed, so I like to try to work from right to left. That way I'm not working on top of wet paint. Change the lamp because the lamp is... I have to put my head really low down and then the lamp is shining in my eyes, and also my head is casting a shadow because the lamp goes behind it.
If you're hearing that noise from outside, it's because my window is open, so the weather is really nice. But then we have noisy neighbors, so sometimes the lovely, peaceful atmosphere is disturbed. The weather's still nice though, even if the sounds aren't as relaxing. Just working my way around. Not sure if you can hear it, but Chappie is grumbling or snoring a little bit in her sleep.
I'm gonna switch to my smaller brush. These little furs here are proving very difficult to paint around. Cleared off the paint from that brush. Now get my really super tiny. I think this is a 0. One of the tiniest you can go for brushes. This is taking so much longer than I expected. I don't think I'll be able to get it done today, actually. To work on it again next week. Wait, not next week, because next week I'm taking off. Gotta catch up on my blog. And I have a Patreon post I want to write and share. And there were some other things too. Other studio tasks that aren't... I mean, I guess technically anything is streamable, but they're not streamable for me because some things I need to be able to focus. Like, I don't know, in a different way than I focus on creating artwork. They're more technical things. And also some things I do not want to do on stream, such as make my donations because I don't want to accidentally show my payment information or something. So, yeah, next week will be other stuff other than streaming. So it would be nice if I could finish this. Maybe I'll finish it off stream or do a little short stream just to finish it because it needs time to sit under a weight before the next step. So I've got to finish painting this before I can do the next round of painting. I guess I'll go all the way around and get this edge with the tiny brush. And I'll come back with a bigger brush to do the rest. Maybe it won't take as long as it seems like.
It's not nearly as time consuming doing a straight flat line like right here. Just a few more minutes. Trying to decide whether I should just push through and finish this, but that'll lead to a rushed evening, and I don't really want that. Don't want that, but I also don't want to have to try to remember to work on this off stream, because I work on my pieces on stream so consistently now that I just don't think of working on them unless I'm streaming. Just doesn't even cross my mind as a thing I could do. Of course, it's not like there's a deadline for this, so I don't need a rush. I'm just excited to get it done. I'm excited to see the final version and share it.
Almost there. Almost to the end of outlining his body. We've got all this other parts to paint. It might go faster using a bigger brush, but it might not, so I think I might just call it quits at normal quitting time and just come back to this next time. And I'll just work on another project too, because I do have a couple more Chibi Friday projects on my list, so I can just move on to those after I finish this step, because I need the time for it to get smushed. Although it does seem a shame to waste this paint. Another thing to consider. I've got this big blob of paint here. It'll be a waste to just rinse it down the sink. Alright, I'll paint until the paint is gone. If that's enough paint to do the whole circle, then so be it. If not, then we will just work until the paint's gone. Okay, new decision made. Glad it's almost quitting time though, because my back is hurting. Yeah, I think 3 hours a day is my limit. Even with my breaks, just get up and walk around, it's my limit for my back. Freaking chronic low back pain. Which has gotten super better after I switched to eating whole food plant-based, not just vegan. But it's still there. It's still an injury. So it's definitely does better over every day. Is not as painful. Doesn't stay as painful. It heals more overnight with a good night's sleep and stuff, but it's still there. Okay. Time to switch to a big brush, and maybe we can finish this pretty quickly. We're only 1 minute over. I mean, as far as length of time spent working on this, I'm actually a little short because I got started late today. So, from that point of view, I still have some streaming time. But that doesn't mean that I have extra time for the stuff that I normally do after this, which is like make my smoothies for the next day and do the evening pet care chores and stuff like that. So that time isn't, I'm eating into that time now. But I think I'm going to be able to fill this in pretty quickly, actually, with this brush. I'll go to a smaller brush for the edges, but these bigger patches we can get with this brush. Oh, should I just finish? So close to done. I need more paint. I'll just finish it. What the heck? It's so close to done now. I used up the paint. I mean, there's a little bit left in the palette, but it's all getting chunky because it's getting dry, so I need some fresh stuff. And I need to switch brushes. So I'm going to switch back to the medium small brush after I rinse out this. And I do think this looks really good with the silver behind. I was afraid the silver would overtake him, but I feel like he stands out against it really nicely, actually. Okay, so let's get a little tiny bit more paint. Really don't need very much at all. Alright, put this back in. And get this medium small, it's a size 2. Get these edges. And we'll let it dry after it's dried for, I'll let it dry for a couple days just to be sure. After it's dried for a couple days, then I'll smush it under some books for probably a couple weeks, maybe even a month, just to get it as flat as possible. And then add that last impasto paint.
believe how long this is taking. But it's good to know for the future. You just don't know until you actually try. That was close. A little string of paint came along and I didn't realize it. Almost went on soon. It's nice with the silver paint because it blends with the graphite for that outer edge that I drew initially to create the circle shape. So it's easier to cover it up with the paint because it's almost the same color.
I'm gonna double check the edges. It actually looks like he's in front of the moon, which is cool too.
I'm gonna double check, make sure there's not any, because it's so similar even to the paper color. Make sure there's no blank spots. Like up here, just a little bit, not quite the same angle. And you can see the graphite. Okay. There are some areas where it's just the paint is a bit thin because there was too much water. Cover those up with a little bit of extra paint. Maybe this edge too. Now I'm really over time because I've been streaming for 3 hours and 3 minutes. But so close to done. Let's just do this right. Boom! I actually see a few more areas. A little bit more paint, but I'm going to switch to the medium big brush. That motorcycle, I don't know if you all heard it. Hopefully not. But they finally left. They've been revving their engine on and off for a while now, and they finally left. And I've always wondered why people are attracted to the sounds of those engines, because to me, they just sound like mechanical flatulence.
And as the motorcycle went off into the distance just now, it really did sound like someone, we'll use the lighter term, breaking wind. It really sounded like a human fart. As it went off into the distance. It's just not attractive to me. So it boggles me. Especially as it goes off into the distance. That's really what it sounds like. It sounds like flatulence. Alright, though. We're really done. Yay! With this step. Not with the whole thing. We need a bunch of time. Couple days to let this dry. And then at least a couple weeks under a big heavy stack of books to flatten it out as much as possible, because you can even see without me moving it, you can see these different shadows and highlights. That's because the paper is wavy. Okay, so I guess I'll just do one little last close-up look at it. I got the edge pretty precise. I think it's a pretty good job, if I do say so myself. So that's that. Yay! Done with this stream. Done with streaming for the month, actually. So like I said, next week is, I call it a rest week. And it is restful, but I also do other jobs, other tasks. So it's also like a housekeeping week, or I don't know, you could call it something else too, but just call it a rest week. It's a rest from streaming, not a rest from everything. It's not like a vacation week. Vacation, that's a rest from everything. But anyway, that's it for today's live stream. Thank you so much for spending this time with me and for everything you do to support Studio Mikarts. If you're new to my channel and want to see more, please follow Studio Mikarts on Twitch to get notified next time I go live. You can also support me by becoming a Twitch subscriber to get ad-free viewing and cute emotes, joining my Patreon for lovely illustrations in the mail, or sending some creative fuel through Buy Me a Coffee. All the links are in my Twitch About section. I'll be streaming again in 2 weeks on Tuesday, working on my 2025 Christmas card illustration. Yes, it does need to be started this early in order to be done in time. So I hope to see you then. But either way, let me wish you a wonderful rest of your day, and thank you for watching.